Your blood pressure is not just a clinic number. It is a living signal shaped by how your body feels right now. The danger is simple. Many people trust one reading, then ignore what their blood pressure is doing in real life. Blood pressure changes with stress, sleep, movement, hydration, and emotion, which means small habits can quietly push it higher. What if your dog is not just comforting you, but quietly interrupting the chain reaction that drives pressure upward? In this story, we will uncover science-backed ways dogs may help lower blood pressure naturally, then reveal 5 deeper mechanisms most people miss.
The first mechanism is touch, because calm contact with a trusted dog can help move the body out of a defensive state.
Gentle petting is not just emotional, it may shift physiology by reducing arousal and making the cardiovascular system less reactive. When the body feels safer, vessels can relax, heart rate can settle, and blood pressure may follow that calmer internal rhythm. Before you blame age, ask a sharper question. How much of your pressure is actually your nervous system asking for safety? Researchers have long suspected that affectionate dog contact can support oxytocin-linked calm, and calm changes cardiovascular behavior. The lesson is not magic. It is measurement, because patterns become visible when calm interaction happens before the reading. A dog can become a behavioral interrupt, replacing one more spike of stimulation with one small moment of regulation. Over time, that ritual can shift identity, from someone who fears numbers to someone who learns how the body responds.
If one dog habit changes blood pressure the fastest for many people, it may be the one that gets you moving.
Dog walking turns good intentions into actual movement, and regular movement is one of the clearest lifestyle signals for lower pressure. Each walk recruits muscles, improves vascular function, and helps the body use stress hormones instead of letting them linger. The most important insight is feedback, because seeing how walking changes your numbers can reshape behavior faster than advice. Dogs are powerful because they do not negotiate with your excuses. They ask for consistency, and consistency is where pressure changes. Sometimes the breakthrough is not motivation at all. It is a dog that makes avoidance harder than action. What lowers pressure is not one heroic walk, but repeated movement woven into ordinary life until it stops feeling optional.
A dog walk can stack benefits at once: movement, daylight, rhythm, and reduced mental clutter, all of which influence blood pressure.
This is where change becomes identity, because the dog quietly trains you to become the kind of person who shows up. Way 3 is stress buffering, because a calm dog can interrupt the body's reflex to stay braced against every threat.
The question is not whether stress raises pressure. It is whether your dog can reduce how violently your body reacts.
Some research suggests pets can blunt cardiovascular reactivity, meaning the stress spike may be smaller and recovery may be faster.
Calm is contagious, and the dog's steady presence can become a cue that tells your nervous system the danger has passed. Used intentionally, a dog can become part of a pre-stress ritual that lowers reactivity before the pressure surge fully builds.
Blood pressure is often the echo of how defended the body feels, and companionship can soften that defense.
Long before a crisis, your dog may be pulling you back from the exact internal state that pushes pressure higher. The real power is not passive comfort. It is using your dog to anchor a healthier response pattern in real time.
Eventually, the dog stops being just a pet in the moment and becomes a living cue for recovery, not reactivity.
Way 4 is loneliness, because isolation does not just hurt mood, it can also increase the kind of stress that burdens blood pressure. A dog offers daily companionship, and that constant sense of connection may reduce one hidden driver of cardiovascular strain.
If loneliness can raise pressure from the inside, then companionship may protect the body in ways most people never measure.
Dogs do something remarkable in public. They make healthy social contact easier, and social ease can calm the body.
More connection often means less vigilance, less rumination, and fewer hours spent trapped inside the mental loops that stress the heart. This is why companionship matters biologically, because feeling supported can change the internal weather your blood vessels live in. A dog does not just change feelings. A dog can change decisions, and decisions are how pressure is shaped across days.
Sometimes the most powerful blood pressure intervention is not a pill or a gadget, but a relationship that keeps you connected to life.
Day 5 begins in the morning, because blood pressure naturally surges when the body shifts from rest into action. A dog can create a softer launch into the day, and a gentler morning may matter when your system already runs high. Dogs bring structure, and structure lowers decision friction at the very hour when blood pressure can be most unstable.
Morning walks can stack light, movement, and emotional steadiness into one habit, all before the day starts scattering your attention.
If your mornings begin with alarms, scrolling, and rushing, your dog may be the one force pulling your pressure in a better direction.
The science is straightforward. Morning biology can amplify pressure, so calming that transition may reduce unnecessary cardiovascular strain.
Once you measure consistently, you stop guessing, and that is when the dog becomes part of data-driven self-awareness.
This is how a dog changes mornings from chaotic reaction into organized regulation, and organized regulation changes the story.
Way 6 is co-regulation, because dogs often model the slower rhythm and your own body has forgotten how to hold. What if your dog is teaching your nervous system a lesson that your mind keeps missing? Slow down, or the pressure stays high. When you slow the exhale, the body receives a safety signal, and that signal can help lower heart rate and pressure.
A dog can make breath work easier, not by magic, but by giving your attention a calm target outside yourself.
This is the shift that matters. You are not waiting for calm to happen. You are learning how to create it.
We have only opened the first layer. Next, the dog's effect on play, purpose, attention, and
Here is the next shift. Sometimes a dog lowers pressure by breaking stillness before stillness becomes a vascular problem. Play matters because blood pressure responds not only to workouts, but also to the small movements that interrupt prolonged sitting. These playful bursts can improve circulation, reduce stiffness, and help the body use energy instead of storing tension. The body does not only suffer from intense stress, it also suffers from long, quiet inactivity that dogs naturally disrupt.
The exercise you keep avoiding may return disguised as play, and your dog may be the reason you finally do it.
Way 8 is purpose, because caring for a dog creates structure, and structure is one of the quiet protectors of blood pressure. Dogs ask for reliable care, and that reliability often spills over into better self-care, better timing, and better follow-through. Blood pressure rises more easily in a life that feels constantly late, scattered, and reactive, and dogs can reduce that friction.
The dog becomes a cue, and cues matter, because healthy behaviors are easier when they are attached to something that already happens.
Your dog may not just need you to show up for them. That responsibility may be teaching you to show up for yourself.
Way 9 is attention, because high pressure is often fed by rumination, and dogs are remarkably good at breaking mental loops.
Dogs pull awareness into the present moment, and the present moment is usually safer for the body than the mind's worst-case rehearsals.
Tension restoration matters because a brain that stops spiraling often stops sending so many danger signals into the cardiovascular system.
If your mind keeps sounding an alarm, your vessels keep hearing it, and your dog may be the fastest way out of that loop.
When attention becomes steadier, breathing often slows, muscle tension drops, and blood pressure has a better chance to settle.
Small moments of amusement can lower muscle tension, change breathing, and soften the emotional load that keeps pressure elevated. When attention becomes steadier, breathing often slows, muscle tension drops, and blood pressure has a better chance to settle.
Way 10 is positive emotion, because joy is not trivial when your nervous system has been braced all day.
The body does not call this silly. The body calls it safer, and safer often means lower cardiovascular strain. Positive emotion changes posture, breath, and internal signaling, which is why mood and blood pressure are more connected than most people realize. When people begin tracking both emotion and pressure, they often discover that calm connection has more physiological value than they expected. Dogs do not erase stress, but they can puncture emotional stagnation, and that interruption can change the body's cardiovascular story.
Here is one of the newer mechanisms. Dogs repeatedly interrupt prolonged sitting, and those interruptions may protect pressure more than people expect.
Pressure does not only rise during drama, it can also rise in bodies parked too long and moved too little.
A dog creates what most plans fail to create: non-negotiable movement snacks spread across the day.
Those short breaks may seem too small to matter, but repeated physiology changes are how long-term pressure patterns are built.
Evening dog care can be especially useful because it interrupts one of the most sedentary windows in modern life.
Over weeks, these tiny enforced movements create a life that is less parked, less stagnant, and often friendlier to blood pressure. Another new possibility is this. Your dog may detect your stress pattern before you consciously admit it yourself. Dogs are exceptional observers of behavior, and they often respond to changes in your posture, tone, pace, and energy.
If the dog's attention becomes your prompt to slow down, that cue can help stop a full stress surge from gaining momentum.
Early awareness matters because the sooner you notice arousal, the easier it is to redirect the cardiovascular response. Your dog is not reading your blood pressure number, but your dog may be reading the human pattern that often comes before it rises.
Imagine treating your dog's concern as biofeedback, not superstition, and using it to catch stress before it becomes a physical spike.
In busy spaces, the leash can become a focus line that steadies attention and reduces the body's urge to stay hypervigilant.
When social or medical settings trigger stress, a trusted dog may help the nervous system feel less exposed and less defensive.
Once you start tracking these substitutions, you realize the dog may be changing blood pressure through decisions, not just emotions.
The calmer your pace, the calmer your physiology often becomes, and dogs are remarkably effective at setting pace. The final new mechanism in this section is hydration cueing, because caring for a dog's water may remind you to care for your own.
Used intentionally, your dog can help you enter stressful places with less internal alarm and a better chance of steadier numbers. In real life, blood pressure is shaped by repeated choices, and dogs can nudge those choices away from salt, alcohol, and passive coping. Your dog may not lower pressure directly in that moment. Your dog may stop you from doing the very thing that would raise it tomorrow. What looks like coincidence can become a behavioral system, where the dog keeps interrupting the exact window when harmful coping begins. What looks like a simple walk may actually be a moving form of nervous system stabilization, and that matters for blood pressure. Humans often forget hydration until stress, caffeine, or fatigue takes over. But dogs make water part of the daily environment. Sometimes a healthier cardiovascular morning begins with the dog's bowl, not your own willpower. Hydration does not fix everything, but it can remove one more layer of avoidable strain from a body already under pressure.
By now the pattern is clear. The dog is not changing one thing, but quietly reshaping the routines, emotions, and choices that shape pressure.
The last section goes deeper still, because the biggest effect may not be what your dog does for one reading, but who your dog helps you become.
The next layer is sleep, because blood pressure tomorrow is often shaped by how safely the body settles tonight.
If your nights stay activated, your mornings can start under pressure before the day has even begun.
A simple evening dog walk can help the body shift out of daytime intensity and prepare for a calmer night. When the environment feels safer and more predictable, the body may enter sleep with less internal resistance and less cardiovascular strain. Dogs often create a gentler bedtime sequence, and sequence matters when the nervous system needs cues that the day is ending.
Better sleep does not just improve mood. It can change how reactive the cardiovascular system feels the next day.
Over time, the dog stops being part of your night and becomes part of the system that protects your mornings. Once sleep improves, the morning surge may feel less chaotic, and that can show up in how the numbers behave. If body weight affects pressure, then any habit that quietly increases movement and consistency becomes more powerful than it first appears.
Dogs can increase total daily movement, and that matters because body composition often changes through repetition, not heroic effort.
Structured pet care can spill into structured eating, and better structure often means fewer choices that push blood pressure upward. Even small care tasks count, because an active life is built from many movements the body still recognizes as work.
When dogs help people become more consistently active, they may indirectly reduce one of the long-term burdens placed on blood pressure.
Your dog may influence your waistline and your pressure, not by motivation speeches, but by making movement harder to skip. Another hidden pathway is light, because dogs often pull people into early daylight that helps organize the body clock.
Dogs can anchor your internal clock by making mornings happen at the same time, even when your mood does not cooperate. The body likes rhythm, and dogs often replace disordered starts with a repeated pattern the cardiovascular system can trust.
Dogs also help on bad days, and bad days are where blood pressure-friendly habits usually collapse first.
When motivation disappears, responsibility can keep the body moving and connected long enough for physiology to settle again.
A short walk really helps interrupt that urge to isolate. It reduces reactivity and lowers my overall pressure load. Dogs can reduce all or nothing spirals by keeping at least one stabilizing routine alive when everything else feels lost. And that is exactly why dogs can help blood pressure, because routine continues even when your emotions want to quit.
In later life, one of the greatest risks is quiet stillness, and dogs can push back against that with daily purpose.
Healthy aging depends on continued movement, contact, and meaning, and dogs naturally ask for all three.
A dog can turn passive time into participatory time, which helps preserve the daily behaviors that keep pressure from drifting higher.
What protects blood pressure over years is not one perfect habit, but a life that keeps you engaged with movement, people, and purpose. If aging naturally invites more sitting and isolation, your dog may be resisting both every single day.
At this point, the dog becomes more than company. The dog becomes part of a feedback system that exposes your patterns. Blood pressure improves when patterns become visible, and dogs help make those patterns visible because they anchor daily behavior in real time.
Once emotion, routine, and readings are tracked together, you stop seeing blood pressure as random and start seeing cause and effect. What if your dog has been acting like a living biofeedback partner this whole time, and you simply never named it? Dogs do not replace medical care, but they may help translate good advice into behaviors your body can repeat.
The real bridge between knowledge and change is implementation, and dogs often strengthen implementation better than information alone.
Context matters because one number never tells the whole story, and dogs may help you gather a truer picture of real life.
Dog's greatest effect may be cumulative, building a lifestyle that supports blood pressure from multiple directions at once.
Information alone rarely lowers pressure, but a dog can force information to become behavior. This is the transformation, from ignoring numbers in fear to studying them with curiosity and changing what shapes them.
The dog changes more than pressure. The dog can change whether life feels lonely, defended, and heavy, or connected and livable.
Lower pressure often begins when the body stops living in constant emergency and starts trusting a calmer rhythm again. The number has not become less important. You have simply become less powerless in the face of it. Blood pressure begins to change when life feels less chaotic, less lonely, and less threatening to the body. The final reveal is environmental. Your dog may be reshaping the setting in which your blood pressure is produced every day. In the end, your dog may help lower pressure by helping you become someone whose daily life protects it better.
This is not a miracle story. It is a systems story, where many small dog-shaped influences add up over time.
What matters most is not one perfect day, but what the dog helps you repeat often enough that your body begins to change. The real question is no longer whether dogs can help blood pressure, but how many ways they may already be doing it. Start by noticing what changes after your dog, your breath, your pace, your choices, your mornings, and the deeper story begins there.
Because in the end, a dog may not just lower blood pressure naturally. A dog may help restore a more regulated life.